Do you have your tablet?
I do.
You do? Yes. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Spring 2016, Week 9. Yeah, we actually have a lot of cool stuff to talk about. So, sucks to people that aren't here. Ha! No. Alright, so today's agenda is t-shirts, updates on speakers, overall progress, participation, GDC recap, and we're going to be talking about the Pajama Jam, which is the best name for an event ever. Fuck. Alright. I'm still used to not having my voice and swearing a lot. Alright, so t-shirts. So we're going to be pushing back the deadline on t-shirts by a few days. So final t-shirt submissions are going to be this Monday, and then there are going to be a couple of days to vote on our Facebook group. We're going to have a poll there, and this is kind of because I forgot to give people access to the logo file for our club, which is going to be on the shirt, so that's my bad, y'all. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. I know I'm shattering everyone's hopes and dreams, but that's what I do. I'm the president. That's us back a few days. I'm sorry about that. We do have some pretty cool partial submissions done already. So for those of you who have already submitted those, thanks a lot. This will give you a few more days to refine those. And for those of you who still want to get the cash money prize of, what is it, like 40, 50 bucks? Something in the neighborhood of that. It says 40 there, but I don't know. Whatever.
45.
40, no. 1,000. Over 9,000. Anyway, so yeah, if you still want to make some money, get a chance to make some money, get also something on your resume, like in a gallery. People who still want to be able to put something on their resume, like, hey, I made this shirt, and a game development company bought it from me for real money. If you want to be able to put that on your resume, pretty good opportunity. And yeah, money's good too. You buy yourself pizza. So for those of you who weren't here last week, or 2 weeks ago, because I wasn't here last week. So for me, anyway, sorry. So those of you who weren't here a couple weeks ago, you might not have heard that Tim Ford, the lead gameplay programmer on the Overwatch team, is going to be coming to talk to us about what he does, how he got there, and also how he works with other teams and kind of goes from like a weird document that tells him exactly how Hanzo is supposed to feel when he runs up a wall, and then actually makes that happen. So that's going to be pretty cool, because at VGDA, one of the things, like, we tend to rely a lot on some of the education that you're already getting, and we try to improve upon that, build upon that. But there's very little in the way of gameplay. There's only like one gameplay design class being taught at Cal State Long Beach, and a lot of people haven't taken it. It's a very, very new class. So there's not a whole lot to build off from there. A lot of the gameplay design has been kind of just done from what we've experienced by being, avid/addicted gamers. And while that's great, this is going to give us some even greater insight into the way that gameplay is made. So that's really cool. Also at GDC, we had a chance to meet a bunch of game developers from the Southern California area, and all of them want to come talk to us and see how we do this crazy thing that we call VGDA. And I'll get more into how awesome we are in a second. Little bit of a downer now, but sort of, only not really, only from a certain incorrect stance. So there's not a whole lot of people here today. And as some of you might have noticed, there's attendance at our meetings has gone down somewhat from what it was originally. And that's for a few reasons. Now, today, I know for a fact that today's lack of people here is mostly because of midterms. There are a lot more people who are regularly submitting work and getting work turned in every week and on time than are represented here today. So this is not it of VGDA. This is not what's left by any means. But the fact is that we are at fewer than the about 80 developers that we started off with this semester. And while it's to be expected in every club, we've had a pretty good track record in the past of keeping people involved for the whole process. And there haven't been as many people staying on this semester as there have been in the past. And so just want to kind of go over a few of the reasons why that's happened. So Echoes of Tikkun, as it's being called now, is a much more complex game than anything, well...
The Roller Coaster Tycoon?
No. Echoes of Tikkun. That's the name of our game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Echoes of Tikkun, sorry, I mumble a lot. So Echoes of Tikkun is a much more complex game than what we've tried to take on in the past. And so because of that, it took us a little bit longer to concretely define this game. And what that meant is there were people who didn't feel super confident about what they were working on. They felt that they didn't have clear instructions and things like that. Also, the game looks really scary to people. Like, we had programmers coming in during the dev jam and, like, straight up not believing us when we told them that they wouldn't have to work on the procedural generation. They were like, but procedural generation's really hard. Can I just, like, pay money and sit in the back and, like, not do anything? And we're like, no, you're not going to have to do the procedural generation. Like, but I can't do the procedural generation. We're like, no, you're not going to have to do it. And it's like, but I don't. And they're like, okay, no, we'll break it down for you. We'll make it something really easy. And several of those people stayed. Some of those people, I guess, didn't believe us, unfortunately. But this game's super complicated. It took us a little bit longer to break it down into smaller parts than normal because it is so big, so complicated, so scary looking. And so some people got a little bit disheartened, got a little bit scared, got a little bit intimidated, and they felt that maybe this semester they wouldn't be able to contribute in the way they wanted to. And also, finally, because of the complexity of the game, it took us a little bit longer than normal to get a kind of playable game on the screen. Now, I just want to elaborate. None of these things are anyone's fault. The purpose of VGDA is to teach, and that goes for everyone in the club. You might notice that I'm in the club. I'm still learning a lot every semester. Your team leads are still learning a lot. You're obviously still learning a lot. So the fact that it took us a little bit longer to break this super complex game down, like, that's to be expected. Also, I want to reiterate that the people who have stayed, those of you who have been putting work in every week, are just doing a phenomenal job. And we're still very well on our way, on track to get this game done. And, like, you're going to be the foundation upon which, like, future VGDA projects are built on. So, like, yes, there are not as many of us as there were at the beginning, but by no means is that going to cripple us. By no means is that going to prevent us from getting an awesome game done. So, because of that, our overall progress has been really, really good. Like, we're well on our way to publish the coolest fucking game we've ever made. We got awesome sound, we got awesome art, we've got procedural generation. Ken, not only is the first person to hit core developer for this project, but he also did this really cool programming thing that not everyone will understand, but it's like, it's cool, I promise. He showed me and I was like, whoa! Yeah, get that man a Barbie. I
got it.
I know. We also had a chance to show people some of the work that we've done at GDC, and they were, like, super impressed. The art, the sound, the programming, the stuff that we're trying to take on. Like, there are clubs that when their teams propose procedural generation, they're just like, no, you can't do it with the time allotted. It's impossible for students. Yeah. Also, we're going to be trying to pick up the pace during spring break so that we can make sure that this game is as polished as possible. Partly because GDC was so awesome, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that in a second. GDC was incredible. So, what I was saying about we really want to focus on polishing this game and getting that done, is that in the past, this whole game development experience has been about developing the process, learning the process, and then building up your own skills. But the purpose was to do something that taught you. After GDC, after all these people hearing about this awesome club that does all these awesome things and somehow is able to do the impossible from their point of view, from their experience. We have about 30 different game companies that want to see our game once it's finished. That like have asked me personally to send them copies of our game when it's completed. So, yeah, so some people are like, oh, fuck. And you know what? The fact is that this is still a student project. So the work that you do as students, like, it is definitely, like, no one feel that they have to make, I mean, even, like, Limbo, like even, like, that level is probably, like, even that level is something, well, we're actually getting pretty close to that, but, like, you know, don't compare yourself to a AAA studio or a professional indie studio and be like, oh, no, we can't compete with this. We're not trying to compete with this. We're trying to show people that our idea, that this process can teach people, can deliver a polished result. And so that's all we want. We just want something, because we already have good stuff, you know? We just need to take it, and we just need to polish it, we need to implement it. The good things are already there. Like, we literally gave a writer for people that make Grey Goo, or made Grey Goo, chills when we told them about our story. So, like, the good stuff's there, we just need to polish it. Okay, so on to the list. There's, like, way more than this. I could go on for hours about how awesome GDC was. I won't, because we actually need to get real stuff done. But at GDC, we ended up running a 6-hour roundtable where developers from all over, but mostly SoCal, came by and talked to us about our club. And, like, they gave us some really good advice. They talked to us about what we can do to improve. And they also, in some cases, they actually like, wait, I don't understand. How do you possibly make this happen? And then we told them. And one thing that I didn't get a chance to put up here, but this is literally the response of every single person that we talked about our club to, like their initial response. Hi, I'm Bob. Hi, I'm Nathan. I run this club. Oh, cool. So, like, how do you guys do that? All right. Well, what we do is we really want to teach people about how to collaborate, how to work in a large group environment, how to work in an interdisciplinary group. So we take the whole organization and we put them on one game development. Wow, that's a really interesting idea. How many people in your club? Oh, between like, well, you know, it's a little bit smaller today, but between like 60 and 100 people on a team. And they're like, wait, between 60 and 100 people on a development team? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, oh, well, that's your problem, because it's literally impossible to get students to work in a group that big and make a game. So these are professionals, by the way. So basically every single person, and Cameron can attest to this, basically every single person told us that what we were doing, what we have succeeded in doing for a year now, is impossible. Like, which was just like middle fingers. But yeah, so they were just blown away. So that was one thing that they were all super impressed with. I've gotten about like 20 emails from game companies from all over the place that want to start building connections with our club as a result of going to GDC. There's Fox's game production studio, and then there are a couple of others that like a guy who runs a mobile app, or a guy who's a designer on a mobile app franchise holding company. Just introduced me to all of their lead designers via email, and they're in the Southern California. They're in like Burbank. That's not that far away. So like we do really cool things. Went to a Blizzard networking event. Met some awesome people. I'm gonna be having dinner with the design producer on the WoW team. We started talking to university students from all over America, Chico State, NYU. The Savannah College of Art and Design, Rochester Institute of Technology, like just tons of universities. And we also ended up running, we went to a roundtable for kind of student developer groups, and we ended up essentially running it because we're badasses like that. And because everyone wanted to understand how it is that we run something that's so awesome, so big, and so unwieldy, and yet somehow super effective, like 4 times, like, you know. All right. So we also met indie developers who were really stoked about potentially being on the show, the Dev Kit. I got like more business cards and I know what to do with, so I was just like in my room. Yeah, we learned that we're doing what developers thought it was impossible up until now. Like, actually, we're just like, you literally cannot do this. And we're like, okay, you say that. We're literally already have done this and are continuing to do this. And we're like, and they kind of like didn't believe us at first. Like, they would kind of like squint and be like, you say that, but, and then we started explaining like what some of the issues that we were running into, like that we were actually running into. Like, okay, well, how do you get design to write a document that's going to be useful for the artists and the programmers and the sound team to take a puzzle design and then implement that? And these are designers from BioWare and Riot, you know, because some of them actually took me out to dinner one day to like learn more about organization. And, you know, I asked them like, how do you guys handle this? And they were like, that's actually something that's really hard for us to do too. We usually just have to talk face to face for a few hours. And I was like, cool, well, that's what we do also. I mean, so, you know, on the one hand, it's awesome because you are literally learning skills that they implement in these giant companies that make awesome games. It's also kind of scary because I think all of us can agree that sometimes things feel that they aren't functioning as well as they could be, and then you're going to go into these studios and you might end up feeling the same way. Like, but you'll be ready for it at least. So there you go. So that's most of my updates from GDC. Cameron, did you have anything else? What was your favorite part? The VR. Oh yeah, you got to do. He played a lot with the VR.
Yeah.
We got super motion sick on some of the VR things. It was like awful. There's like one where you're like you're in a parachute, and it's like a VR parachute, and you have like this weird peripheral where you're like pulling on it, and you're like pulling back, and I was just like, it was really bad. Yeah, the VR stuff, huh?
Yeah. I met a lot of indie devs too.
That met a lot of, yeah, they were making some cool stuff. That card game was cool, even though it was hard. Anyway. All right, Pajama Jam. So we're hosting on the Pajama Jam. Woo! It'll be during spring break this semester, like it usually is during the spring semesters. We are currently have a poll on Facebook, trying to figure out which days it's going to go, and vote for what days work best for you. You can vote for multiple days. The poll closes at 5:15 today, though. So you know, if you need to vote, you can like log in on your Facebook page on my laptop, and then I'll send obscene messages to your relatives afterwards. Kidding, whatever. All right. For those of you who don't know, the Pajama Jam is a 24-hour event where a bunch of our devs get together and we just work for like 24 hours. You are allowed to sleep. We will have like break times to play video games together and whatnot, so that'll be fun. But yeah, there'll be food, internet, space to work, and like so much coffee and sugar and coffee and pizza. During the Pajama Jam, you please show up, but if you can't, you can also work remotely. Like that's going to be a great time to get work done remotely. Every task completed during this 24-hour period is going to be worth 2 extra points. Oh yeah, lightning round. And all tasks turned in over the entirety of spring break will also be worth 1 extra point. So if you want to, and we're doing that because we really want to try to build up a lot of momentum over spring break. We really want to. We think spring break presents an opportunity to get a lot of really great work done and really set the tone for the rest of the semester's development, which we only have 5 weeks left, by the way, y'all, including spring break. So we really think that spring break is going to be an important time for us, and so we really want everyone to kind of be rewarded for the extra work that they're putting in over this time. All right, so that's all I got. Questions, comments, concerns? puns. Don't you dare. Yes, I've brought a blight upon our land. Anyone else? It's Aaron's birthday. Happy birthday, Aaron.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if it's already been your birthday in this club and I haven't, recognized it, it's probably because I don't like you. Yeah. I mean, if you want me to embarrass you during your birthday, you can let me know. He let me know. That's why I'm embarrassing him. So yeah, cool. I like your haircut, Peter.
Thank you.
All right. Cool. So that's all for me. I guess Cameron. Sure. Aaron Burr, sure. Sure, sir.
Actually,
Motherfucker.
hello, my name is Cameron.
Hi,
I'm an outdoor.
Cameron.
So over spring break, here's the plans for Sound Team. We're gonna start chunking through that asset list, get as much done as physically possible over spring break, either going online and finding royalty-free sound assets that we can use, and anything we can't find over spring break we'll record the following weeks after spring break. And we're also going to start writing level music because design has posted roughs of what goes on each level. And that's all we need to start writing the music. So, and it's going to use stuff from the themes we all wrote before. We're going to put that in there, and it's all going to be together and sound awesome. And, yeah, I'm super sick, by the way, so I want to die.
Yeah, you look really blue right now.
It's bad. Oh, that's way better. Jesus. I was staring into the
I'm all better now.
So yeah, any questions, comments, concerns? Happy birthday.
Where'd you go?
Alright, thanks y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
I'm not sick, but I missed 2 days of sleep, so.
That's it?
So I don't have a PowerPoint for you guys because of the reason I just stated. But we're going to pull up the Trello and we'll see what work we did this week. Which was a lot. It's Cameron.
What?
It's Cameron.
Don't tell me what to do.
So this week we worked on finalizing order and grace, and we accomplished both of those things, as you will see in just a second. We also got a lot of animation done, a lot of the important ones, such as walk, and we've got a lot of other important animations, just such as the play music and jump in the making. So we'll just start from here, I guess. So this is order. I don't know if I'll be able to zoom out. Is there a way I can zoom this out or something?
No.
No, just gotta scroll. Oh. Well, okay, so this is gonna be our god. I I'd like to make it a point that this piece of art is not going to make it into the game on a 1-to-1 ratio. So what we're going to do from this is that we're going to pull from this and make it into the hub statues, the fresco assets, and maybe some of the environments. Let's go ahead. So that was order. We've got Grace here. Now look at that lighting right there. So again, we had a Skype call regarding finalizing Grace, and we came to a conclusion that, a skeleton design that incorporated these flowy waves and a hood, and some other design choices that we thought really fit Grace, such as this shawl here, and the fact that she's got a very gestural silhouette. Also, the area of her forehead and her eyes are blocked out because it's kind of like Cyclops from X-Men. You know, she's got like too much power like up there, so she has to block it out, or else she'll just destroy everything. And I think it's reflected in the mythology. Let's see what else we got here. I did a quick little play music asset. So I'm planning to have this a little more fleshed out, but as for now, this is going to serve as a placeholder for the play music, for how we're going to turn the idle profile view of Zimri into the play music animation. And from there, he will jump. So the jump will be a front face forward jump, so that way we don't have to do two assets, left and right. And then we've got some more here. So these are some of the concepts that were submitted this past week for Grace and her finalization. And as you can see, a lot of us incorporated hoods, and we thought that it was very apparent by maybe halfway that we were going to be incorporating this attribute into the design. Yep. And these ones you've already seen. We got some more work on Splendor. I really like the silhouette here, although the wings may be a little too angelic, and that would kind of give reference to maybe a culture that we don't have in our design doc, but the silhouette here is very strong, and as we all know, Splendor is a multi-armed god that is very, I guess, boisterous, and I guess this silhouette really reflects that. So it's a very strong attribute of this concept. And we've got some more over here. I'm not going to click on every one of them because Nathan's laptop is shit. So. Okay, and we've got some of the finalized animations over here. I think you can see it in the smaller version over here if we let it load, but maybe I can just press it in. But yeah, as you can see there includes secondary motion, just such as this hair floof moving right here. the instrument in the back is being a little bit tossed around as his momentum is shifting forward. And the cuffs at the bottom are shifting up and down as well. And that allows us to read the player character, or just character, a lot easier when he's zoomed out. This is a turn animation by Laura. So you can switch directions without looking like Mario. And the same for the other side. And animations don't, they're not, just touch and go kind of things. You have to really commit a lot of time to these. So, this was a lot of work, even though it seems like maybe, half a second worth of work. You can imagine how hard it would be to first do a rough of these and then have to go back in and redo them again and then tweak them so that they can look smoother. Okay, and we go here to environments next.
You can close the thing on the right hand side.
Yeah. So we've got drum. This might be too much of a direct reference to a certain culture like that. Again, isn't in our design doc, but it's a good start. It reads very well, even from afar. And maybe the visual style that's being incorporated into our game could permeate this a little bit more. But it's a very good start a very good step in the right direction there. We've got our concepts for Tibetan singing bowls. So already we're working on these puzzle assets, and it gives me great comfort that we're starting on the board. This flute. So this here is maybe a little bit smooth, but at the same time it really does take advantage of our visual style in creating planes of colors. Got an actual bell. So in the doc, I think that design sent us. There were going to be gongs, and I had told Emily that maybe gongs wouldn't read well in profile, and it would be kind of strange to have a gong just facing you and not actually Zimri. So I suggested a bell, but then another design member had approached me and told me about another kind of gong called, a bell called a flat bell, and it's basically just a sheet of metal, and I think that that's something that we can incorporate later on down the line as well. These are some background and foreground assets, or just placeholders for the time being. And they're going to allow us to test out what we can actually do with the foreground and background. I've shot these over to tech, so it's now up to them to try to implement it. Let's try some of these. So nothing too special, just tonal studies, I guess, of maybe ruins and architecture. And these ones are going to be floating, and because we don't want to have like something that's on the floor and it has to be built up from the floor, from the ground up, and have it be too big and obstruct our view of both the fresco and the player. I think floating buildings would add a feeling of like just mystical elements, and also it would kind of solve our problem in not hiding too much of the environment. And we've got the same ones out here for the foreground. So they're just silhouettes of the same assets, along with some stalactites and stalagmites. We have more work on fresco. This symbol in particular was found to be, I guess, unusable because of a prior game from Bungie, right? Called Marathon.
It's
Very similar.
this symbol is a pretty common, like derivations of this symbol are pretty common, but in the game industry, people would look at this and be like, "Oh, you took the symbol from Bungie's first game, Marathon," and that was an association that we didn't want to, create because one, we're not producing at the level that Bungie is, and two, we think that even though we're not producing at that level, that we can still do stuff that's like really sets us apart. And so we wanted to just make sure that we create that separation.
We've got this one's from earlier, I believe. We've got a puzzle variation here. Although this doesn't exactly reflect what we're talking about, it is always a good thing to remember that we can always talk to design about maybe puzzles or things in the game that we wish to see, and then maybe further down the line we could create art from there. This in particular doesn't reflect our original style or our puzzles that we've got on our asset list, but I can see that through an animation that's on a separate page, it does have potential to be something in the game. Okay, we've got some menu variations, and this, although these top four don't exactly reflect the things that we have in the cave, I think the visual style is there. I also think that this could be a reference to the tutorial level, or maybe the entrance to the cave. Whereas the bottom one is a little more obvious as to why it fits into the game. And I think the last thing is this here, which is a draft for a menu that we've got, or menu buttons. So this past week we got a lot of work done, and you guys are keeping the pace pretty well, but I think that we might have to up it even a little bit more to try to get up to the level of polish that we want it to be at the end of the semester. I seriously think that we can do it. We can do a really good job. We can do better than we ever expected. To me, I've already felt like you guys exceeded expectations, but at the same time, now I want to, as a leader, see how far you guys can push it. And I believe you guys can. So I really, really think that this game is something that we all believe in, and I think that it's
Yeah.
I'm at a loss. I'm seriously at a loss for words because you guys are a really great art team, and I just think that you guys deserve the little push that will get your work to a very, very high level of polish. And
which big companies are going to be seeing.
Exactly.
once it's all done.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Yeah.
So this is going to be short and sweet because I am sick, and also I was at GDC last week and I'm still catching up on all the awesome stuff we did. But I wanted to give a shout out to my team leads who kept the ball running while I was gone because they did a really good job. So basically we have our 9 main puzzles down. We have all the mechanics. We have preliminary docs written for them. They just need to be edited up, and then they're up there. I think like 3 of them are finalized, and then the others just need a few revisions. To help with that, I wrote a how-to writing puzzles guide that I'm very proud of. Design team, please read it. Other teams, if you want to read it and critique it, because it's mostly us helping to communicate with you. That's awesome if you want to do that. We also also came up with an idea for a 10th puzzle, which which will serve as like a final boss puzzle. That isn't like fighting, but it's like kind of at the end. So after you beat all the levels and you go back one last time, you solve this one big cool puzzle. So that's something that you have the idea for and you like, and you're trying to figure out how that works. And so that's going to be a lot of the sorry, that's going to be a lot of the jam. More awesome narrative stuff happened. I don't know the details because sickness and GDC, but we've turned out like sorry, a ton of writing stuff. We have dialogue for all 3 levels, like roughed and like kind of polished. It just needs one more like voiced pass. I know people have been doing a ton of work with like figuring out the gods' voices, and there's some really cool stuff going on there. We've got dozens of pages of lore, a ton of communication with our team. For those who don't know, we formed kind of like a strike team between certain members of design and certain members of art to work on the fresco, and they've just been talking like nonstop. So I think it's pretty cool. Nathan read our mythology and it gives him feels, allegedly, so I think we're on the right track. Over the break we are, so because narrative's doing so well, we're going to back away from it and focus on some of the other stuff, just because there's a lot of manpower there. We're going to shift it to cranking out puzzles as soon as possible. So we'll be polishing the 9 puzzle rooms we have, updating the docs according to new standards, revising, making sure that the mechanics are approved by everyone and will be easy to implement. Coming up with the 10th puzzle, and then turning out a ton of corridor puzzles. We've had like 5 this week, and we can do a lot more because like there are only 2 people submitting, and we have 5. So that's what we're going to be doing this week. Probably a lot of that at the Pajama Jam. Answering your questions. Again, any questions for us, please shoot them over. FAQs still there. Possibly playtesting, if tech can get us a build, because I have played it a little bit and it's amazing, and Ashley's played it a little bit and it's amazing, and I think everyone would really like to start doing that. Yeah, that's it. Questions? Sorry, I can't really talk today. Okay. Bye.
Hey, Michael. How's that theater class?
How's everyone's week been?
The same one?
Yeah. Having a good week, Nathan? Everything good? Good to hear. Good to hear. You're just like yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I can't. It's totally different.
Where do you want to start? Just start in the yeah, you can turn. Just start in the generation touchdown. I'll test it.
Right over here.
I'm not cosplaying Sean, but I want to see one.